Welcome to another lecture on the topic letter writing. So today we will solve one more problem on letter writing. So we will learn how to write a sentence freehand in Gothic style. So let us see another question. In this question he is saying write the following sentence freehand in Gothic style. Now two important things we have to understand in this question. First is we have to write freehand means when we will write the letters, then we cannot use a scale. We have to write the letters freehand. But for drawing the guidelines, you can use a scale. And second thing which we have to understand in this question is that no height is specified. We are free. Fine. That means we have the choice. We can pick any height to write the sentence because it is not mentioned in the question. In the previous question it was mentioned, so we were taking same height while drawing the sentence, but now height is not mentioned. It means now you can use any height. So in this lecture we will write this sentence freehand, and we will write it in 7:5. That is the standard ratio for Gothic style. Now it means we have to draw two guidelines. The gap between those two guidelines should be 7 millimeters. So let me align my scale with this guideline, with this line, and let us draw a thin line, continuous thin line, and from the first guideline I will measure 7 millimeters. So 7 will be somewhere over here. Fine. Then somewhere over here I mark another point, 7 millimeters. Then we will align these 2 points to draw the second guideline, continuous thin line. So we have drawn the second guideline. Now let us draw the center line as well. So height is 7, so center line will be at 3.5 millimeters. So let us mark another line at 3.5. So 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, in between 3 millimeter, in between 3 and 4 mark a point approximately. Then over here again 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, in between 3 and 4 mark a point. So if you have this type of scale, you will have half millimeter also marked on the scale, so you can make use of that also. Then align your scale with these 2 points to draw the center line and draw it continuous thin. So you see we are ready with the 3 guidelines. Now we'll start writing the sentence. Now one thing to understand, in freehand we will not mark the points even. Now we will write the sentence by using the rules which we have learned in the first question, that gap between any two letters should be 2 millimeters and gap between any two words should be equal to width of one letter. Now over here width we are taking as 5. Now I will not mark the points, and we will write freehand. Now let me give you one example over here. Suppose I want to write letter G. Then I will draw first straight line, then I will draw lower curve bigger, then the upper curve. Then from this point I will draw a straight line. Fine. So if you observe this letter, I have taken height around 8 or 9 millimeters. Fine. But if you see its width, and if I see the ratio of height and width I have taken for this letter, so it seems to be 7:5 approximately. So this is expected from you, that when you write any letter, approximately the ratio should be maintained between the height and the width. It should not be like that you're writing letter G like this. Now if you see this letter, then this ratio is not maintained. Over here almost width and height, these two are almost same, so that is wrong. So whenever you want to write any letter, make sure that you have maintained this ratio. Fine. So if I again draw this letter G, now I have taken slightly bigger height and I have increased its width also. So overall ratio will remain 7:4. So I mean to say you should not write letters like this. In this case ratio is not maintained. So I have say over here we are not measuring any height and width. We are just drawing the letters freehand. But while drawing those letters, we are maintaining their ratio approximately. So this is what is expected in freehand. Okay. Now let me write this sentence now. So I will not use scale and I will not mark points. So let me start from here. So mid to mid I will draw a straight line. So first letter. Now you can see I have approximately maintained height and width. Fine. So if this is 7, this will be approximately 5. Then leave approximately a gap of 2 millimeters and start writing letter O. So mid to mid straight line. Now you see this is again approximately 5. So next is letter O. Then D, leave a gap of 2 millimeters, draw a straight line, freehand. And suppose this is the total width which I will take for D, that is 5. Then up to mid straight lines, and I will draw carefully the curve here. So again ratio is maintained, 7:5. Then I have to leave a gap of 5 millimeters. So approximately this much gap I will leave, and I will draw next letter, that is I. Then I will leave 2 millimeter gap. So I have to complete S in between this width approximately. So let me write that S now. Fine. Next is O. So leave a gap of 5 millimeters approximately. Start writing the letter. So we are following the same shapes we learned in the previous class. Then leave 2 millimeter gap. Write the next letter. Make sure lines should remain straight. Next is E. Leave 2 millimeter gap. Draw vertical line. Approximately this width we have to follow E for E. So like this you have to write freehand. And whenever you have to write certain notes on the drawing, so if you will follow this method, means if you will mark the points, then it will take a lot of time. Fine. So best way is that practice 1 or 2 problems like this, means mark the points, then write the sentences. After writing 1 or 2 sentences, you will get an idea how to write the different letters and how to maintain their ratio. Then you can write freehand. Now one more thing I want to convey in this lecture, that when you will place dimensions also anywhere on the drawing, then we have to stick to these numerals only. Means suppose I want to write 10 millimeters. Suppose this is your dimension line and I want to write 10 millimeters on it. So I will not write like this. Fine. So what I will do, suppose this is dimension line, you have to maintain 7:5. So I will follow the shape which we have learned. 1. Then I will write O in capsule shape only. Like this. And compare these two. Similarly, if I want to write 20 in the dimensions, so I will not so I will not write like this in my handwriting. So I have to maintain the ratio, and I have to maintain I have to use the same shapes. So we have learned that 2 should be like this. Then O must be in a capsule shape. So like this we have to write the dimensions when we will solve some problems. So let me give one more example. Suppose I want to write 40. So you should not write like this. This is wrong. So you have to follow this shape, and you have to maintain the ratio as well. So for 4 we have learned this shape. Then draw 0 in capsule shape. So like this you have to write. Fine. So I hope now you are clear how to write freehand. Thank you very much.